What's up guys, and welcome back. And in today's video, this is going to be for all the people that purchased our Easy Pilot kit. I'm basically going to unbox this right here and show you guys what I do when I first get a kit, and especially on the Easy Pilot here, what are going to be the steps to get it up and flying. So without further ado, let's get this video started and open this kit. Now, when opening the Easy Pilot kit, you're going to have a couple of different things in here, and the first thing is going to be your user manual. Now, we have a paper one inside the kit, but we also have a downloadable digital version on our EMAX knowledge base. So if you lose this, you can go to the digital version and get all the instructions that you need. And the first thing I would suggest is to read this. This is going to tell you all about the drone and how to operate it and the steps you need to take to get it up and flying. Next, right here, you're going to have the Easy Pilot drone. This is going to have a battery on the bottom. You're going to want to charge this battery first before you do anything, so you can go ahead and take that out, get that charging. I already have mine over on the charger charging as we speak. And then also with the Easy Pilot drone, you're going to have an extra set of props here, and you're going to have the single battery charger right here where you can plug this in via USB and charge your battery. And you're also going to have a screwdriver kit, some extra grommets, some extra screws. Now, moving on, we're going to take these foam inserts out. The next thing you're going to see in here is going to be your Easy Pilot transmitter. And this Easy Pilot transmitter only works with the Easy Pilot. So if you are going to want to upgrade in the future to one of our Tiny Hawk models, just remember you won't be able to use this transmitter. You're going to have to buy something like our E6 transmitter. And also you're going to have your goggles here along with a goggle battery pack. And you can go ahead and throw this on the charger too. It comes with a USB cable, so you can go ahead and plug this into the USB and get this charging. Now with the goggles, it also comes with two linear antennas that you can go ahead and install right on here. And this has diversity built in, so when you're flying your drone, it's going to pick up the signal from whichever antenna is stronger. So if you're flying more to the left, more than likely it's going to pick up the left antenna, and vice versa. And like I said, you're going to want to charge everything first, and that's including this transmitter. It's got a USB charger on the bottom, and in the kit you only get one USB cable, so you're going to want to charge the transmitter or the goggle pack with that USB cable, or if you have an extra one laying around your house, you can go ahead and use that as well, so you get them both charging. Now, once you have all your devices charged, your transmitter, the goggle pack, and the battery for the drone, we're going to go ahead and do some checks first before you even get up and flying. Now, the first thing I want you to do is go ahead and plug in our drone so we can check what channel that the drone is on. And once you plug it in, you'll notice that the flight controller up top is lighting up green. That means we have power. And if you look at the bottom of the drone, you're going to see the VTX and the VTX button. And in order to get that to flash to see what channel we're on, we're going to go ahead and press the button once. And you're going to get a sequence of blinking LEDs. You're going to get blue blinking LEDs, which is going to indicate band. And then you're going to get green blinking LEDs, which is going to indicate channel. And if you look in the owner's manual, it's going to have a little chart and what these blinks mean to you. And if you want to go ahead and change the band and channel, you're going to want to hold that button down for a few seconds until the blue LED illuminates. And once you're in this menu, this is where you're going to be able to change your band and frequency. Now the blue, like I said before, indicates band. So if you want to change that, you're going to want to hold down the button again for a couple of seconds, and the blue LED is going to start to flash. And right now you can see that it's flashing 4 times. And if we go back over to our user's manual, 4 blinks of the blue LED indicates the Fat Shark band. And that band's perfectly fine for me, so I'm going to go ahead and save it. So in order to save that band, I'm going to want to hold down the button again until I get a solid blue light. And to change your channel, you're going to want to do what we did with the blue light. We're going to hold the button down a couple of seconds until it starts flashing. And how many flashes indicates what channel we're on. And if you notice, it's blinking 1 time. And that's perfectly fine with me. That's going to indicate that we're on Fat Shark band and on channel 1, which is a pretty common VTX channel. So we're going to leave that alone how it is. And in order to save this, all you got to do is hold the button in again, and it's going to go solid, and then you can go ahead and unplug the drone. Now what I like to do is just to verify that everything is saved correctly, I'll plug it back in one more time, and I'll tap that VTX button just to go ahead and double check our band and channel. Now the next step we're going to do is to make sure that our goggles are going to be on Fat Shark 1 as well. Now there's a couple of ways you could do this. My favorite way is to just use the channel and frequency buttons over here so we know we're exactly on that channel specifically, or there's also an auto scan feature. The auto scans feature is nice if you don't know what band and channel you're on. You can scan real quick and the goggles will get you on that channel, or they might get you close enough. So that's the reason I like to go ahead and use the frequency and the channel buttons over here, is so I know exactly what channel I'm on. Because if we're close enough, when we go to fly, video may start to break up as we get farther away because we're almost on that channel, but not quite. So just go ahead and use the channel and the frequency buttons on the right. That way you know 100% you're on the correct channel. Now, when using these buttons, make sure that you long press them. If you short press them, you might think something's up with your goggles because it's not changing. But you need to long press them so it'll change the band and frequency. Now, once I have my goggles on Fat Shark 1, we can go ahead and plug our drone back in and verify that we get video from the VTX in the camera. And if I look in the goggles there, we have video. Alright, so now we have our video on our goggles and our drone set. We can go ahead and unplug these real quick. Now the next step that I would take if I had this kit was to take my drone and my transmitter and make sure all the functions on there are working properly. So I'm gonna set our goggles aside real quick and we're gonna focus on our transmitter and our drone. So the first thing that I want you to do is go ahead and power on your transmitter, and this should already be fully charged by now. So go ahead and hold the button in the middle on until you hear that beep, and you'll see a green light in the ring in the middle. That means that your transmitter is powered on. And the first thing before we plug the drone in, we're gonna make sure that our arm switch is in the disarm position. That's gonna be facing down away from you. We're gonna make sure that our throttle stick is in the down position. And if you're first starting out, you're gonna wanna make sure that the right switch is in the down position. That's gonna indicate beginner mode. So once that's all set, we can go ahead and take our drone and we can plug it in, and you're gonna set it on the table or a flat surface and let it set for a minute. This is gonna make sure that the accelerometer and the barometer, they're all calibrated before you take off. And once you let it set for a second or two, you can go ahead and arm the drone, and we're gonna take it for a line of sight test hover to make sure all the functions are working properly. Now, in the beginner mode that we have it set in, this is going to give you the ability to use the barometer, so it kind of gives it an auto lock scenario where it'll lock the altitude and kind of stay in one place for you. And then it'll also give you the function to just steer it with the right stick. So you'll have the yaw, the roll, and the pitch all mixed in the right stick for you. So all you have to worry about on the left stick is throttle. You don't have to worry about changing the yaw direction or anything like that. You just steer everything from the right stick. Now when we're gonna go arm, you're gonna wanna flip the switch and you'll see the light on the aircraft start to flash. That means it's in arm mode. And you might give it a little bit of throttle and you'll be like, what the heck, it's not working. And that's okay because the barometer is active, and in order to get this to actually launch off the table or off the ground, you're gonna wanna make sure that your stick goes above 50%. So once you get above the 50%, it'll actually start to spin up and take off. And then it'll kind of like stay there. As long as you keep the throttle around 50%, it'll hover that altitude. And if you give it more throttle, it's gonna go up in altitude, and then if you come down below that 50%, it's gonna drop in altitude. And if you're by that 50%, it'll actually just hold there a little bit. And I'm gonna go ahead and land it in disarm so I can talk to you guys. And when you do that, don't be alarmed. It's gonna shoot up pretty quick once you get over that 50% threshold. So make sure you have a decent amount of room. Let it get up off the ground and drop the stick slowly. If it's launching and going too high, drop it down to 50% or a little bit below 50% so it actually decreases its altitude. And then you can go back to the 50% on the throttle and it'll hold it there. Now, when you're doing your line of sight test hover with this, you're gonna wanna also make sure that it's trimmed out correctly. So once it's hovering there right in front of you, you can use these trim buttons right here under the sticks. That'll actually trim it out for you. So if it's drifting to the right or to the left, you're gonna wanna use the roll trim, which is right under the right stick. And if it's drifting forward or backwards, you're going to want to use the pitch trim, which is to the left of the right stick. So if you're going backwards, it's pitching backwards and coming closer to you, you want to hit this button up here to trim it forward. And then if it's going right or left, let's say it's drifting to the right, you're going to want to hit the left trim button right here. And then one last trim button that I tell people about is going to be your yaw trim. If it's turning left or right on its own, like the nose, the camera of it, you're going to want to go ahead and use the yaw trim buttons, which is underneath the left stick right here. Now, after you go ahead and line of sight test hover it, you can throw your goggles on, you can get inside the video, and you can go out for a flight. But one last thing I want to tell you guys about here is the other flight modes. So we talked about the beginner mode, which is a barometer active, and that's going to hold the altitude for you, and you're going to steer everything off the right stick. This is also going to limit your angle so you can't go too fast forward or backwards. And then if you flip the right switch to the middle position, this is going to be intermediate. This is still going to give you the barometer altitude hold, but now you're going to be able to fly this a little bit more like a traditional quad. So you're going to have the pitch and roll on your right stick to go forward, backwards, left and right. And then you're going to have the yaw and the throttle on the left stick. So you're going to be able to control the drone moving left and right, like the nose, the actual yaw function of it. Then you're going to have one last mode on the switch. If you flip it all the way up, that's going to be our advanced mode. And the advanced mode is going to take the barometer out of the equation, and it's going to give you basically more control with the throttle, so you can be more precise. You can get it to hover and go down, up and down easier than you would with the barometer on. Now, before we go ahead and wrap up this video, I just want to go through a couple troubleshooting steps for you, because I do get these questions quite frequently in customer support. And the first one is, my drone won't arm, it won't take off. And this is usually the case of somebody has the throttle a little bit up and it's not all the way in the down position. It will not arm if your throttle is in the up position. It senses that it has throttle and it doesn't want to take off on you when you go ahead and arm it. So always make sure that the throttle is in the down position before you take off. And then the next thing I always get frequently is one of my motors does not spin. And since we're flying this around in our house or around on carpet or anything, you may get some hair or some fuzz actually stuck between the prop and the motor, and it'll get tangled up in the shaft. And the way to check that is to just pop this prop off, and you're gonna look right here at the shaft of the motor, and 9 times out of 10 you'll see hair or fuzz there. You're gonna want to go ahead and pull that out and make sure that it's completely free so this motor can spin. Alright guys, that was it for this video on how to use your Easy Pilot drone. Hopefully it helped some of you guys out there in getting up and flying. And if you guys have any questions, make sure to put them in the comments below. I'll look through those and I'll try to answer them for you. And make sure to hit that subscribe and notification bell. That way you guys stay up to date on videos we release here on this channel. But guys, until next time, I'm gonna go have some fun with my Easy Pilot. See ya.